The last wish. Tobias was smarter than everyone. He knew it. He had spent years studying riddles, paradoxes, and philosophy, dismantling every logical puzzle he came across. His teachers called him arrogant. His classmates called him insufferable. It didn't matter. Tobias knew he was cleverer than all of them. So when he found the old rusted lamp buried in the roots of an ancient tree behind his grandfather's house, he didn't rub it right away. He had read the stories. He knew the traps. For days he studied the markings, traced the engravings, and thought through every possible scenario. A genie would twist your words, pervert your wishes. But Tobias was too smart to fall for it. He would play the game better than anyone had before. Finally, he rubbed the lamp. The air cracked like splitting bone. A thick, roiling darkness erupted from the lamp, forming into something almost human, but wrong. Its limbs stretched too long, its fingers curled like grasping claws, its mouth twisted into a grin that stretched across its entire face. "I am Azeroth," the genie said, its voice like dead leaves whispering in the wind. "3 wishes, speak." Tobias grinned. "I've been waiting for this." The first wish. "I wish for infinite wealth," Tobias declared, standing tall. Azeroth nodded. "Granted?" The ground rumbled. Gold and jewels poured from nowhere, cascading around Tobias's feet, burying him to his knees. He laughed, triumphant. Then he heard the screaming. The wealth kept coming, pouring from the walls, from the sky, from the empty air. It crushed the trees, broke through windows, shattered bones. The weight grew, pressing against his chest, rising past his shoulders. He struggled, clawing to stay above the surface, but the gold didn't stop. He was suffocating in it. Azeroth watched with dull amusement as Tobias's face twisted in panic. "Stop! Stop!" Tobias shrieked. The gold vanished instantly, leaving only silence. He gasped for air, hands shaking. "You tried to kill me," he whispered. "I granted your wish," Azeroth said simply. "Shall we continue?" Tobias swallowed his rage. He would not lose. The second wish. He took his time before speaking again. "I wish to be untouchable, unable to be harmed, imprisoned, or controlled by anyone or anything." Azeroth's smile widened. "Granted." At first it felt incredible. Tobias walked through traffic, bullets bounced off his skin, fire did not burn him. No one could stop him, he was invincible. But then came the hunger, the thirst. He reached for a slice of bread, but the moment he touched it, it rotted in his hands. Water turned to dust before it reached his lips. He tried to grab a doorknob, but his fingers passed through it like a phantom. His body still existed, but the world no longer accepted him. His parents recoiled in horror when they saw him. His mother's face twisted into something unspeakable before she ran screaming. When he tried to rest, he found he could no longer sleep. He could no longer feel. He could no longer die. Days passed, then weeks. He wandered in silence, watching the world move on without him. He screamed into the void, but no one heard him. He was untouchable. Forgotten. Azeroth appeared in the reflection of a shattered window. "You look unwell," he mused. "One wish remains." Tobias was shaking. He had never known fear like this. The third wish. But he still had one move left. He wasn't beaten yet. "I see your game," Tobias spat. "You twist words, but I can beat you. I wish for your power. I wish to be the genie." Azeroth's smile flickered. Tobias saw it. Victory. "Very well," Azeroth said. "Granted." The world around Tobias shattered. A great wind roared through him, tearing at his skin, his bones, his mind. He felt himself stretch, unravel, dissolve into the infinite abyss. His body no longer existed. And then he was somewhere else, a vast, endless void. The lamp. There was no light, no sound, just an eternity of waiting. Tobias tried to scream, but there was no air, no voice, only the crushing weight of timelessness. He felt something move in the darkness. He was not alone. Shadows twisted around him, whispering in voices too old to comprehend. The echoes of others, souls trapped before him. He felt them clawing at him, unseen but everywhere, pulling at the edges of his consciousness, hungry. They had been here for eons. So would he. Then suddenly, light. A hand grasped the lamp. A new voice spoke. "I am Azeroth. Tobias heard himself say, the words spilling from his lips without control. Before him stood a young girl, clutching the lamp with wide, hopeful eyes. "You get 3 wishes," Tobias said, his voice no longer his own, his grin stretching too wide, his body twisting into something else. His mind screamed inside the prison of his own form. He had won. He'd lost. And the game would begin again.